Hey all, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'll be discussing why the Democratic Party is hurting themselves, um, and why 2020 or 2022 and 2024 are looking like they're going to be very much like 2014 and 2016. So obviously, yes, Joe Biden is really unpopular. And this is from Civics, by the way. Civics is great. They have like these maps, and this is fairly new data. So honestly, civics is great. You should, like, if you haven't been to the website, if you want to look at like approvals, definitely go check it out. Um, but basically, I think a lot of this is very similar to Obama, and honestly, Trump in a way. We're seeing like Obama and Biden and Trump specifically. I think who campaigned with very like big ambitious like campaigns. They had like a lot of very ambitious goals. Then they got into office, and a lot of their what they did wasn't as much as they had campaigned on. Even if they were doing a lot, it wasn't as big. Like if you're saying that you're gonna do like a bunch of stuff, and you do like a lot of stuff, but not like not as if you not as much as you said that you were gonna do, even if it is a lot, that's gonna make voters like mad. Obviously, it's gonna make your base mad. It's gonna make swing voters who turned out for you, or flipped for you. That's gonna make people mad. Obviously, and the Democratic Party is really setting themselves up to lose. Obviously, Biden's unpopularity, just in general will hurt him, but I think a lot of this, which could definitely be contributing, and I would think probably at least partially is contributing to his unpopularity. Obviously, probably like gas prices and inflation are like making people angry, but I think this honestly might be part of it. Maybe I don't know. I feel like this is like a different thing from that. I don't know. Biden's unpopular though. The Democratic Party would be like more popular right now if they were to pass the legislation that they were put into office to pass. I think that obviously we saw what happened with Obama. 2014 and 2016 was a red. 2016 was obviously a fairly favorable year for Republicans. 2014 was a red wave. Trump was slightly different. A lot of his unpopularity was because he was just almost always going to be unpopular. Um, he lost the election, obviously, or he lost the popular vote, obviously, and when you lose the popular vote, especially when you have a lot of people who don't approve of you still voting for you, like probably a lot more traditional conservatives who just really didn't like Hillary, your approval rating's obviously going to be low, and the like the margins in the House will probably reflect that. The margins in the Senate obviously did not reflect that, and it actually favored the Republican Party. That was fairly predictable. Um, Especially with the map. The map was. Well, if Democrats, it really depends, because on one hand, Democrats could have hoped for like a map that like their worst map, because then if it's a blue wave, um they should be winning. Like they should lose less of their seats, or they could hope for a really favorable map and try to pick up a lot of seats that they shouldn't be picking up and hold them until 2024. Um, but regardless, it was not a great map for Democrats and Republicans. Obviously, I think that the Senate will probably reflect, like, I think obviously this is like obvious, but I think the Senate won't reflect the popular vote as well as the House, and Democrats tend to do very well in the popular vote. I think the Senate would probably almost always what's the opposite of reflecting the popular vote? Like reflect the like electoral college more. Not even necessarily, just like reflect, not reflect the popular vote as well. And I think in a lot of these scenarios, it would favor Republicans. I mean, like, yeah, in like Vermont, it would favor Democrats. Rhode Island, actually not Rhode Island, Delaware would favor Democrats. Are those the only two blue states that have 3 electoral votes? I feel like I'm blanking. What? But anyways, Wyoming obviously favor the GOP. The Dakotas, and Alaska. So obviously, I mean, like, well, now I'm talking about electoral votes, and now I'm talking about like the Senate, but we already know the Republicans tend to overperform in the Senate. That's like evident. But I think that if Joe Biden doesn't pass like legislation, and obviously I think like the infrastructure bill just passed in the House, which is I was already gonna film this, and then that happening just made this video like somewhat less relevant. Which I mean, like, if this is gonna happen, could it have happened like earlier today or tomorrow morning or sometime when like not 30 minutes before I'm gonna record a video, but whatever. Also, did it happen at like midnight? Oh, I just dropped my phone on my computer because I wanted to go check. I don't know if it happened at midnight. That would be kind of funny. Though I don't know, just like a bunch of senators like passing bills at midnight. I don't know. I find that funny. Anyways, now back to the point of the video after I've been talking about other stuff for like 3 minutes. Joe Biden really should, and the Democratic Party as a whole, should really be trying to pass this legislation. If they don't, voters are going to get fed up with them. 2024 will not be a good year for Democrats. 2020 or 2022 will not be a good year for Democrats. They will see 2021's like elections probably even worse though for them. It will not be a good year. Those years will not be good years for Democrats. And maybe the weirdest part of it all is that Joe Manchin is already going to lose, but he's just going to hurt himself more. I think that Kirsten Sinema, she's representing a very centrist state, and breaking party lines will probably help her with, like, centrists. If she's doing it at the rate that she is, it might hurt her, like, with her base, and maybe, like, if she's gonna like break with the Democratic Party like nearly 100% of the time, then I think it's gonna hurt her. I don't know if she will, and I honestly don't know if there's gonna be like enough votes in the Senate for her to, um, for her to like feasibly that are actually like the when she's not gonna vote for it when the Democratic Party passes a bill in the House. I hope what I just said made sense and wasn't just me blabbering, but if she wins the primary, it really depends on like who she's running against and a lot of the environment by 2024, and that's obviously like subject to change. But I think there's a very good chance that she loses as well. And Manchin, I think already knew he was gonna lose probably. Like Manchin's probably already prepared to lose. Which it's kind of funny that like a lot of the time we talk about people voting electorally, whereas Manchin is voting in ways that are going to hurt him more electorally, but he already knows he's going to lose. So at this point, he probably is either A, already aware that he's going to lose and just voting like off of like his ideology, which is a thing that I don't even know if we see that frequently anymore in like politics. Obviously, yeah, we see people voting off their ideology a lot, but I think a lot of the time they're very strategic votes to try to like where people try to like win re-election. Obviously, what am I even saying at this point? But I just froze. Sorry. Anyways, I just completely lost my train of thought. But it's anyway, back to what I was saying. It's probably either that for Manchin or he wants to appeal to conservative voters who voted for Trump in West Virginia. But at the end of the day, I think that the Democratic Party is hurting themselves by not passing the legislation that they were elected to pass. I think that we could see a very similar thing happen with the GOP when they win, probably in 2024. And obviously flipped the Senate and the House in 2022. So we could see a lot happen, um, like between now and 2024, which could change like a lot. I think that as of right now, unless Joe Biden and the Democratic Party start passing loads and loads of legislation, 2022 will be very, very favorable for Republicans. I think that there's still like what, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years. Wait, no, from now to 2022, 2022 to 2023. So yeah, like three years. For Biden to still pass like a lot of this legislation before like 2024. So I think that gives him some decent time. I think the clock is kind of ticking, obviously until the midterms. And if he doesn't pass, he's 2022 is going to be a red wave. Yes, I think that Biden won't be passing a lot of this legislation, and not only Biden, obviously the Democratic Party. Um, it'll really, really hurt them. And they will likely lose as a result of not passing the legislation that they were elected to pass. The GOP, once again, I think we could see a very, very similar thing with them. If they aren't like already just unpopular. Because they probably would lose that popular vote either way, and we're probably gonna see a very similar thing in 2026. Actually, I don't know, because the 2020 map I don't think is that bad for Democrats. Or the 2026 map I don't think is that bad for Democrats, but it's definitely not as bad as 2018 was for them. But we will obviously probably see. I think that the GOP, once again, as I've said, could be in a very similar boat to the Democratic Party right now if they don't pass a lot of their legislation once they take office. I think this is a problem like that each party has, where they like just don't pass the legislation that they were elected to pass, or don't pass it as much as they were elected to pass it. They don't pass as much as they were elected to pass, even if they are passing a lot. This is a problem that honestly both parties definitely have, and it will hurt both parties when they are in power, probably. If not already, like if they're not already just hurt from other issues that hurt them, um, they will, unless parties start to like actually pass the legislation that they were elected to pass, we will continue to see probably very, very favorable waves for whatever party is not in power during the midterms, and we will probably see the presidency. We will probably see a lot of one-term presidents. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. Stay tuned for my next video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please comment your suggestions down below. Sorry about the video. I know it was like super just like brain dead. I'm kind of tired. And anyways, I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye.